Hey, welcome my peeps, my peoples. It's your girl Mary Jane. Please like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It would be greatly appreciated from the bottom of my heart, my peeps, my peoples. So let's talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 14, episode 150, Shades of Cynthia. So we start off at the OMG restaurant where, it looks like it's doing good. You got the OMG sisters, OLG sisters. Um, Candy's aunt and her mom, and you have Todd. He's working there hard. There's a 45-minute wait to get served. There's so many people there. People coming all over the place, coming from Chicago, coming from here, coming from there, and everybody wants to be there, even though there's been some rumors about the OLG not paying its bills to its contractors, and also allegedly things done with the health department. But we don't know if the health department and the citation that the OLG violation was actually from, who other than Phaedra Parks has something to do with that. But seems like they got it together, the restaurant. And so Todd is busy, he's working. They're putting their all into the OLG restaurant. Candy's talking about she's been a wife, a mother. She's back with her old group Escape, and it's just so hard, and she's trying to spend all her time at the OLG restaurant. And she said that when they went on a family trip, that her aunt said that they were selling chicken like they sell weed out there in Arizona, I believe, or Denver, Colorado. I'm not sure. So anyways, we get to Cynthia's house. Cynthia's house look beautiful. She blowing leaves. Guess who shows up? Nene Leakes shows up. And Cynthia talks about her birthday party. She wants all the girls to come dressed as a little part of Cynthia. And so Cynthia and Nene Leakes, they start to talk about Kenya Moore and the hush hush wedding and her getting married. And Cynthia's congratulating, Kenya Moore on her wedding. And so Nene Leakes is choking up like, how, what you mean? Like, who knows, is it real? And then we go to flashbacks of Kenya Moore, her dating history, guys that she dated, having on her wedding dress and wanting to get married and all this other stuff. So Nene throws shade towards Kenya Moore, was like, I want to see that marriage license. And Nene's like, I don't know why you're so ecstatic and you're so in awe of Kenya Moore's wedding, Cynthia, but in her confessional, you wasn't even invited to the wedding. I was like, oh, Nene's back to throwing shade. And so then, Nene Leakes is still throwing shade because she was like, was they together? Cynthia was like, no, they've been together for a long time. Cynthia was like 8 months, 6 months, 4 months, and Nene Leakes goes, oh, so we went from 8 months to 6 months to 4 months. So how long has she known this dude? All of a sudden they get married. I'll believe it when I see it. And she didn't even invite you to the wedding. And then, Cynthia was like, well, they eloped. So basically the blogs are saying that Kenya is possibly married. Some of the blogs are saying that she's not married. So your guess is as good as mine if she's actually married. Do I care? No, I really don't care if she's married or not to him. Whatever. She's trying to make it interesting. And so then guess who shows up? None other than Kenya. She shows up, and her and Nene, they hug or whatever, that fake hug. Nene ain't no real friend to nobody. After she talked about this girl, and she was asking her questions about, what's this guy's name, blah, blah, blah. And, Kenya's not trying to give up the info. She's not trying to tell Nene Leakes anything. She don't want to tell Nene nothing. Even with her nose being cut off and slimmed down, she still got one big nostril, is looking at this, sucking some information, and she's too nosy, and I ain't telling her. But, hey, they friends. That's how friends talk. They frenemies. To me, most of them are all frenemies on this show. Not real friends or whatever. And so Nene asked Cynthia, like, so when are you guys gonna move in together, live together, whatever? And she was like, oh, we haven't found a house yet. That's what Kenya said. And so Nene's like, you just built the damn house. She was like, well, no, we haven't found a house that we want to move in together, because right now they're bi-coastal. I think Marcus, the guy that Kenya is married to, I think he lives in New Jersey or New York or whatever. So, and so Kenya goes, my house is haunted. There's ghosts in it. So I guess she wants to sell that house after all that competition with her and Sheree. And so then Cynthia throws in to be shady and was like, oh, the ghost of Matt busting them windows. I was like, Cynthia, you threw that in there. And Nene like almost choked when Cynthia said that, Kenya Moore is married. That's so shady. And so then we cut to Portia. Portia has a podcast. It's called Portia for Real podcast, basically with her sister and her friend Tiffany. And basically they do a podcast and they talk about Phaedra. And then, Portia talks about that Phaedra called her on her birthday or whatever, and she read the text of happy birthday, loving you, you look sexy, whatever. That sounds like a man texting, Portia, not an ex best friend. And so basically they talk about Portia's sister's like, you just let her get in too close and too deep with you. You allowed her to wreak havoc in your life, basically, in so many different words. And so basically, Portia was like, well, there's no more new friends and all this other stuff, and blase and the third. And so they asked her, has she talked to Candy? She has not talked to Candy and all this other stuff. And she also talks about that, Phaedra Parks, tried to call her 4 to 5 times or whatever. So we'll see how that situation goes. And then what's her name? Portia just feels like, Phaedra just played her, but she was kind of like collateral damage because she really wanted to get at Candy. Like she really had the hots for Candy and she wanted to get at her. So she used Portia, and I think Portia's kind of like understanding the situation. But if Portia would have lost both of her jobs at Dish Nation and she would have lost her peach over here on this show, she wouldn't be thinking that she was just collateral damage. She'll be up in arms. She'll be upset. So, I guess they're not going to talk to each other for now, but we'll see what happens because Portia seems like she's in the hunt for friends, and she's sometimes very naive, but ignorance is not an excuse. If someone tells you a rumor and you go and spread it, you're just as guilty as that person. You got to do your investigation before you go out there and spread rumors about someone that you work with, a co-worker, a friend, someone that helped you out, put you in a play, try to help you with your music and all this other stuff. She was more of a friend to you. Candy was more of a friend to, Portia than Phaedra was. Phaedra used to always throw dirt at Portia because Apollo used to look at her all the time. So we cut to Nene, and Nene has a boutique called Swag Boutique or whatever, and guess who shows up? None other than Sheree shows up being shady like she wants to be. Sheree was like, I had a boutique too, but mine was high-end clothes. I remember you had a fashion show, Sheree, with no fashion. I remember that. And so Sheree is just like looking around her boutique with her nose stuck. I'm like, come on, Sheree, you need to stop it. Like, Sheree's another one. She ain't nobody's friend. Sheree was like, my boutique was upscale, had more high end. It's like, you ain't no good. And so, Sheree and Nene, they talk about, Portia basically, but first they talk about Kenya Moore, basically if she's married, if she's not married, and a rumor on the street that she's not married and she don't want to tell anybody her boyfriend's name. Basically she calls him Bae or whatever. And so then also what's her name, Nene Leakes, she also noticed that, Sheree has on a necklace that says love, and Nene is like, ain't nothing but a man to give you a necklace like that. He put that right around your neck. So who's the man you dating? And so Sheree has the same feelings as, Kenya Moore. I ain't telling you nothing. You two knows. And one thing I won't do is tell you about my boyfriends or anybody I'm with. But we also find out or hear on the blogs that Sheree has married somebody from jail, or she's dating a man that's in jail. The pictures are up in the slideshow as well. And the violation codes and, Candy supposedly not paying her workers, her contractors, and the citations up in a slideshow as well too. And so basically then they move on to talking about Portia, how they haven't talked to each other, and basically Nene tells Sheree that, hey, listen, I haven't talked to her because she's been dissing me. She's been dropping my name on Dish Nation, talking negative about me, and she's mad at me because I tried to give her advice about not fighting, not this, don't do that, because people ain't gonna want to work with you or whatever. So she took my advice and she didn't like it. And so Sheree goes, only reason why they have something going on, and Sheree said in her confessional is because Portia didn't kiss her ass, because usually Nene Leakes has a lot of yes men, yes women around her. So since she didn't say yes, 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 that's why they got a problem. And it seems that, Sheree and Portia basically on the same page about and Kenya about how some of Nene antics or characteristics that they don't like, or they're pointing out at different points in time of this show. So Sheree was like, well, you know what? You and Portia need to talk. Like, it shouldn't be a big problem, and all that other stuff. So Sheree's gonna try to get things together, because they're all gonna go to Cynthia's birthday bash where they have to dress up like Cynthia, and Portia will be there. And so we get to Kenya Moore. She's in a car. Her father calls and was like, yeah, her father called her and was like, yeah, I'm hearing all this information on Facebook that you got married. And so Kenya Moore confirms the rumor. She was like, yes, I got married, and I didn't want to invite you because I know you was gonna not be too happy about that and all this other stuff. So it's just, I don't know, with that situation, it seems like maybe Kenya did not get married, and like her father's not that much of a bad person for her not to even want her father to walk her down the aisle, because this is Kenya's more first time getting married, and she don't want her father to be there. That sounds kind of crazy, but Kenya Moore says she didn't want him there because he might piss off Mark. So what? That's your father, baby. Your father's going to be there long and after you and Mark either stay together or not stay together. And your father was there for you when you was going through that situation with Matt. So it just seems like you would invite your father and all this other stuff. And she didn't invite her father to the wedding. She didn't invite her nieces. Her nieces could have been the flower girl, but she says she eloped. But it looked like, if you look at the pictures, that there was a lot of people there. And that's what Candy brings up at the party, at Cynthia's birthday party, that there was mad people there at your wedding. That's what it looked like. And so I guess Kenya Moore trying to say they're strangers. But I think she was dead wrong from not inviting her father. But it's her wedding. She can do whatever the hell that she wants to do at her wedding. But it makes it seem less authentic not having your father there, or your nieces or your nephews, to this guy. And then what if this guy Mark gets into an argument with your father next week or the week before at a gathering or whatever? He's just gonna walk out on you, or you that scared that he might leave you because your father and him might get into a confrontation? I don't know. So anyways, the father forgives her and just said, I was just going to tell you to be cautious or whatever. So it seems like a lot of times when people are in relationships and they don't want to bring their partner around their family member, either they're embarrassed of their family members, or their family members might turn their partner off, or their family members might be able to read them and tell them the truth about the person they're dating, because a lot of older people have a lot of wisdom where they can pick on if the person is good or not good for you, and some people don't like to hear that. So that is what it is with that situation. So her father forgives her, and he hopes that he gets a chance to meet her or whatever. So Portia and Sheree, they meet up. They're trying out wigs for Cynthia's 50 Shades of Grey party, and basically they start to talk about Nene Leakes and then why they're not friends. Basically it's the interview, and Nene Leakes said like 3 weeks ago that she thinks that frickin' Frat should be fired, or Portia should be fired from the show. And then Portia doesn't own up to what Portia says that she did an interview, but she did say something about Nene Leakes when she was on This Nation, but it wasn't that bad what she said or whatever. So it just seems like they're both looking at each other through the internet and these interviews, and it's like really minor, minuscule. But since that big incident with Portia and Phaedra, I wouldn't really trust Portia, but Portia just seems so gullible, but she's down for the shits, just like Nene's down for the shits as well. So they both been slanging mud at each other back and forth to make the show interesting, to make them stick out for for the season. So we'll see if they ever get back together, they ever be friends or whatever. But so these people are going to be dressing like Cynthia. And so, Portia throws shots at Nene Leakes when she tells Sheree, well, just introduce me to Nene Leakes, because I don't know who she is no more. She don't look the same. She don't act the same. She don't talk the same. She ain't the same girl. I don't know who she is. So introduce me to the new one. I was like, oh, you going there. But it's also good to see that Portia is not afraid to be around the girl. She's not afraid to show up, and she's not afraid to talk to them. So that's one good thing. So hopefully in the future we'll see her and Nene have their confrontation and talk, and her and Candy have their confrontation and talk. And also her best friend Jamie, I don't know her name, whatever her name is, the girl that's following Candy around this episode at Cynthia Bailey's 50th party or whatever. So we get to Cynthia Bailey's party. She looks good. Cynthia looks drop dead gorgeous for 50. She looks just drop dead gorgeous anyway. She's a beautiful woman, and you know, she really took care of herself, but money helps with taking care of what she looked like. And so we see Cynthia's mother, her sister Mallory shows up. It's all good. And then also, you know, Cynthia ends up calling, you know, Peter and see if he was coming to her party, because he didn't answer the invite. And so her daughter was like, just call him. So she called him, and Peter's not coming because he's somewhere else. He's MIA. And she's feeling kind of sad about it. And she talks about that she's been talking to Peter for a minute. She talks to him a lot, you know, but he's not able to come. And she felt weird about the conversation because she felt like she made it more sad. So anyways, the daughter said, come on, let's get it together, let's get it going. So her sister shows up, Mallory shows up, her mother shows up. You can tell Cynthia has very good genes. Look at her mother is beautiful. So the ladies are showing up, and they dress like Cynthia at different points and aspect of Cynthia's career, or different times she's been on the show. We also see Melissa from Love and Hip Hop ATL. We see Quad, she shows up, and you know, all the girls are just, all the girls show up, but Seth, we don't see Kim, we don't see Trash there. So anyways, all the girls are there or whatever. Everybody's giving Cynthia a happy birthday. They have a contest, and you know, Candy won the contest. You know, she was more authentic, and she put a lot of work in her costume to look like Cynthia, and I think she really did look nice. I think Candy looked nice this whole episode. So did Cynthia, so did Portia, so did Sheree, and Nene, she was okay. There was some aspects that Sheree kind of looked a little different at the wig shop or whatever, but that wig shop, I hope that wig shop is black owned. They shopping for wigs in Atlanta, and it ain't a black owned wig shop. I'm gonna throw a shade at y'all. So then, you know, Cynthia's like, where's Portia, where is, you know, Sheree? And guess what, they show up, and Sheree greets everybody, and so also Portia greets everybody, and she even hugs, you know, Candy, and Candy gets in her confession. I can't believe I did that. She was like, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I hugged her. But see, that shows you that Candy's a nice person. She's a forgiving person, that she don't want to be hateful, and it is what it is. You know, sometimes people catch you off guard, you know, that because you're not really that vindictive, you're not that mean person. So she caught her off guard with Candy. Was like, I can't believe it, stop it. But Portia does throw shade at Nene and doesn't hug Nene, but she says hi to her. So anyways, all the girls are talking. They're at the table, and it's Candy, it's Cynthia, and Portia, Sheree, Jamie, Portia's ex-best friend. Portia's ex-best friend is not even talking to her. Portia is not even really acting like her best friend's there. I guess they're not Jamelia, I don't know her name. I guess they're not friends. I don't know. Maybe they ain't friends like they used to be, but hey, it is what it is. Candy walks away from the table. She was like, I can't be fake. I don't want to sit around here, sit at this table and act like I want to have chit chat with Portia. So Candy walks away. Portia's best friend walks along with Candy, and what's her name? Kenya. I think Kenya was at the table too, or Kenya was on the other side. So Nene Leakes is in the corner. So Nene Leakes is in the corner, and then the other girls join her. Candy, Portia's best friend, and you know, Kenya Moore's over there as well. And so, you know, Candy was like, I can't be fake. I'm not going to sit over there and talk to her. I'm not going to do that. You know, I'm just going to leave that alone or whatever. And so that's when Nene Leakes jump in. You know, she got to jump in, and she was like, I feel you, Candy. I ain't going to do nothing like that either. I ain't going to be fake with her and all this other stuff. So I don't even see why Nene Leakes got a real beef with her, but because they both been slinging mud at each other. I don't know who thinks who's a threat or who's trying to get more looks out here in these streets, but it is what it is. And so then Sheree, not being a friend that she is, she brings Portia over there to talk to Nene. But see, what I'm saying is good to see Portia's not scared. She was like, I'll go talk to her. So I'll go talk to all these ladies over here. I'm all right. So Portia goes over there, and basically her and Nene go back and forth about, you ain't been a real friend. She goes, you ain't been a real friend. And then, Portia goes, you haven't been a real good friend. And in 3 weeks you said something about me getting fired. Sheree is relaying the message to Nene, like, oh, you said that Portia should be fired. Nene says I didn't. So then they walk away. And then oh God. And so then that's when Kenya Moore jumps in, and Kenya got to put her 2 cents in. She was like, you know what? If you don't want to talk to her, Nene, you don't have to talk to her. And then they walk away. And so then, so Cynthia convinces Nene to go talk to, Portia. So Portia and Nene ends up talking. And basically, there's the same thing. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the door's locked, the door's closed. We ain't friends. We ain't going to be friends. We're not going to talk about 3 weeks ago. We're going to talk about from the beginning. Then that's when Portia goes, you build me up to bring me down. We all know how Nene is, and we know how you is too, Portia. You're too naive, and you act too gullible when you know better. So anyways, nothing got solved with Nene Leakes or Portia at the time, or Portia and Candy at this very moment. And Portia and Kenya really ain't even talking, period. So we'll see what happens. And so, Portia makes the point that if I have my lips pucked out and I kiss her big fat old booty, she'll be all right with me. It seems like Nene does want people to bend down and validate her worth, because Nene did let this help with this show progress into 14 seasons, even though she took a break off. But I don't even see if I wonder if they all gonna get back together and be chill or whatever. We'll see what happens with it. But it was an alright episode for the beginning season, so we'll see what goes down and what happens. And yes, I'm so glad Cynthia did throw up that I had like 7 50th birthdays. I was like, yeah, come on, Cynthia, because you've been 50 for the whole you've been having so many birthday parties. The time I talk about Cynthia's 50th, so I'm glad she addressed that. So anyways, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that like button. It would be greatly appreciated from the bottom of my heart, my peeps, my peoples. Peace. I'm out. One love.